Welcome back to Just Chattin', and this is the series of videos we do on Thursday and Sunday evenings just for our own entertainment. So for all you Audie fans, he is running around somewhere, and he may well show up, but right now, I don't think so. The weather has been strange here lately. It went from raining all week, followed by a really hot week. It got up to 100 degrees here. Audie is confused, and, well, as you all know, he blames me for the bad weather. So do I think it's likely we're going to see him? I wouldn't bet on it. But we can remain hopeful. All right, we are going to take a quick look at the intro, and then we will be right back. So I have an interesting story for you this evening. Now, this is something I have been alluding to the last couple of times that I've discussed as ever. And this is how Nutmeg is obtaining the products. And sadly, it's even worse than I thought. And seriously, I thought it was bad. I didn't think it was this bad. So, the story in the video notes is coming from the Daily Beast, and they are apparently quoting the Daily Mail. But basically, the story is the same no matter who's reporting it. It turns out that when Nutmeg's As Ever brand began posting their newest batch of items, the tea, the flour sprinkles, whatever, their restockings, that they left some metadata in the web pictures they were using to hype the products. And that information led directly to the actual manufacturers of the items. And in this case, it is the Republic of Tea, which is a company out of Illinois, and they are apparently responsible for the hibiscus tea, which, by the way, I believe is the tea, and I dealt with this in a previous video, that one of the reviewers found so distasteful they spit it back into the cup. And also, apparently, these people are responsible for the flour sprinkles Nutmeg is selling. So, what's the big scandal? Well, we knew she was outsourcing the products, despite the fact that with her original product outlay, and this would have been over a year ago, when she was still using the name American Riviera Orchard, and she was claiming that the merchandise she was going to be selling was going to be stuff she was making in her own kitchens. And really, that was the claim. She sends 50 jars of jam off to her 50 closest friends, and they start raving about it. And remember, this all allegedly came from Nutmeg's own kitchen. She personally made the jam. She packages it up in a basket of lemons that allegedly came from her own personal garden. As we can see these are pictures of Abigail Spencer, who is just falling in love with the jam and the lemons, and it looks like she's about to elope with the jam, or maybe the dog. But regardless, we have all of this hype, but the underlying theme of all of this is Nutmeg's jam, Nutmeg's recipe. Nutmeg was personally responsible for the creation of these products. So a year goes by, and then we have As Ever. Again, what we have is Nutmeg tying this in to her With Love, Meghan television series for Netflix. And remember, although they claim they are releasing the second season, it's really only the unreleased second half of the first season. So no, they're being very deceptive about that. And it does irritate me because there's no reason to lie about something like this. But Nutmeg's never really had a reason for any of her lies. I think she just does it out of habit at this point. So we've got this tie-in to Nutmeg's kitchen and Nutmeg's products. And yeah, they're not Nutmeg's products. She is not making these items. And the part that's even worse is she probably wasn't even sourcing the items herself. So why do I say that? Well, she's in partnership with Netflix, and Netflix has claimed they are going to be selling the As Ever products in their brick and mortar facilities, and I think they have a couple of those. And so there's your tie-in, and they are supporting this. Nutmeg has said that Netflix, as her partner in this venture and so on, and all the support they're showing her. Well, Netflix is a $500 billion company. So obviously for Netflix to claim she has Netflix's, did I say that right? For Nutmeg to claim she has Netflix's backing in this. I'm sorry, I'm jumbling them together. I'm creating this little portmanteau of Nutmeg and Netflix, and it's coming out Nutflix or Nutmeg. No difference at this point, I've got to tell you. So she's claiming she has the backing of this major company, which only adds to her credibility as a female founder. But I'm not even seeing female founder in here anywhere. The company that has produced Nutmeg's tea is the same company that is producing items that are being sold under the Bridgerton label through Netflix's brick and mortar stores and their websites. Same company. Now, what does that tell you? Well, I can tell you what it tells me. It tells me that Nutmeg isn't even doing the sourcing of these products. Nutmeg's role in As Ever seems to be very much the same as, for example, Dolly Parton's role in the Dolly Parton perfume line. Now, I'm choosing Dolly Parton because I like Dolly. I mean, who doesn't? And I actually like Dolly Parton's perfume. I find it very pleasant. But nobody believes that Dolly Parton went out and got a home chemistry set and actually began making perfume. She's not saying she does. We don't have that idea in our heads. We are looking at this as a perfume company coming out with a line of perfumes in Dolly Parton's name. So our expectation is that Dolly Parton over here, the perfume company over here, have entered a partnership. Dolly's name, the perfume company's products. This is not unusual. This has been going on forever within the world of entertainment. A high-profile celebrity endorses a product. A company goes to a celebrity and says, can we use your name for this or that? Will you be our spokesmodel? Or conversely, a celebrity goes to a perfume company and says, I would like to bring out a line of perfumes in my own name. Can you help me do this? Everybody understands the ground rules in a situation like this. Celebrity, perfume. You don't expect that the celebrity is creating the perfume. That's not true with what's going on with Nutmeg, because she is not only marketing herself as Susie Homemaker, this kitchen guru with her Netflix With Love Meghan series. Come look at me cooking things in this kitchen, which isn't even my kitchen. So yeah, we know about that part of the sham already. But when it comes to the products and Nutmeg's current position, which is that she is a female founder, she has created this business. No, looks like that's a lie too. It looks like the only thing she is doing is lending her name to a venture that is being supported, not just supported emotionally or financially or through marketing by Netflix, but it looks like Netflix is responsible for putting the entire deal together. So that does beg the question, what exactly is Nutmeg doing as a female founder? And aside from getting herself interviewed and interviewing other female founders so that we are believing that her role in As Ever is the same as their role in their companies with products they have designed and marketed and gone through that whole process of taking something from idea to saleable product, which Nutmeg has not done, clearly, because it's obvious at this point that, one, her products are not being manufactured by her in any way. It's not even likely that she knows what the products are until they are hitting the shelves. Has she even gone to the factory? Has she even reviewed the manufacturing process? Doubtful, because I think if she had, we would see photos of her in the factory walking up and down the assembly lines. We haven't seen those yet. And let's face it, if she so much as goes from an office to her car through the parking lot, we get pictures of that. So, in Nutmeg's life, if she doesn't have it documented with photos, it probably didn't happen. So what we've got at this point is a woman who is saying, this is my creation, who has had nothing whatsoever to do with the creation. The only thing I can find that Nutmeg is involved in is the packaging, the labeling. That's her pseudo-calligraphy. And frankly, the packaging and labeling on the As Ever products has been very highly criticized because the labels are on crooked and they don't even seem to be able to glue a label onto a jar with any success. So yeah, that's the only part that she seems to be involved with. And by the way, I don't think it's her fault that the labels are not properly affixed, because I doubt she has anything to do with that any more than she has anything to do with the design or development of any of these products. She is, in fact, a spokesmodel, taking credit for other people's work. Did she make this raspberry gooey goop spread? No. Is it her recipe? No. This is something that another company has produced. But she is implying that it is hers. Absolutely. And I think if I prowled through her recent statements on all of those ridiculous social media interviews she's been doing, I could probably find some instances where she is, in fact, taking credit to a fraudulent extent. Right now, I'm content to just look at this and say, well, As Ever is a sham. It's not a real business. It is a name on paperwork. It is just a fictitious entity, which, by the way, all corporations are. They are fictitious persons. That's how the law views them. But it's not even a company in that it's not really doing anything. Somebody else is producing the items. Somebody else, Netflix in this case, is securing those items. And again, we know this because this is the same company that is producing other items for Netflix for their Bridgerton series of products. So yeah, what is As Ever doing? What? They're not involved in the creation of the products. They're not involved in the sourcing of the products. They have outsourced the distribution of the products so that, you know, if they're not filling their customers' orders, they can wash their hands of it. And on the website, it's very clear that the fulfillment company is responsible for getting the products to the people. Nothing whatsoever can be directly linked back to As Ever. Do they have production people? Not that I can tell. Do they have a marketing department? Well, not that I've seen. Do they have anything resembling a business going here? No. It would seem to be the only business As Ever is doing is wrapped up in Nutmeg, generating publicity, and I'm not saying that's not valuable, obviously it is, and in this case, it's the only value associated with the As Ever brand is, you know, Nutmeg, putting it out there before the public, making sure people are aware of it. Okay, there's value in that, not denying that, but does she have any connection with the product? Doesn't look that way right now. Now, I would go so far as to say I think this is probably the tip of the iceberg. I think now that this little can of worms is being opened, we are going to see more and more stories about how other companies are producing everything that Nutmeg is, well, she's not even selling it. Remember, she's got a third party doing that for her. But that Nutmeg is taking credit for. And she is absolutely taking credit for this. She is a female founder. Of what? That's the question, though. What? What is this business she has allegedly founded? There's nothing there. It's like you pull the curtain back and, you know, you see a carnival huckster instead of the Wizard of Oz. It's really a sham. And that's what it is. As Ever is a sham. It is not doing any of the things it is pretending to do. It is not doing any of the things the public is being led to believe it is doing. It is nothing but a label on somebody else's products. It's not even warehousing the products. It's just, it's a farce. It's a joke at this point. And as I say, I expect tip of the iceberg is what we're seeing. I expect that now that this has been exposed, other people are going to start digging, and they're going to dig further into it. Now, the exposure is interesting because as the sources, and by the way, this is the Daily Beast's take on it, is essentially leaving the metadata in the pictures and the advertising materials was a rookie mistake. Yes, it was. So, again, As Ever apparently doesn't even have a proofreader out there. So, yeah, you got to wonder what they're doing. But that's how it happened. Accidentally leaving the information about the real creator of the product. Now, we knew Nutmeg was not creating the wine, or at least if we thought about it for 30 seconds, we would realize Nutmeg was not creating the wine. And that has apparently recently been released. We know that because winemaking is a very specialized, high-level skill. This is something that involves chemistry. It involves gardening, organic gardening, growing the grapes. I mean, my mind is reeling, to be honest with you, because there's so much involved in this. It's something that is so far out of Nutmeg's abilities that it's not even worth mentioning. Yes, people can make wine at home. Can they make wine of the quality that you would need in order to mass market it to the general public? No, no. That's winemaking on a whole different level. Is Nutmeg capable of that? Absolutely not. So we had to know going in that the wine was going to be something she was outsourcing. In fact, only a moment's thought would have told us everything is being outsourced. She is grabbing other people's goods, slapping her label on it, and that's the end of it. But what we are thinking, because of her innuendos and implications, is that at the very least, she is involved in some way, that she is in discussions with the manufacturers about how these things are going to be made, that they're going to be made to her specifications or her standards. Yeah, not too likely. This is just Netflix going out, finding these wholesalers, buying the goods, and slapping her label on it. Is she even responsible for putting the labels on herself or through a company that she owns and controls? Nope, not very likely. So that is what I have for you this evening. I think that this is the beginning of the exposure of the As Ever brand scam. It is not a genuine brand. They are not making anything. They are not responsible for anything. They are nothing more than a label. This is just more of Nutmeg's smoke and mirrors. What is she doing? Nothing. Nothing. She has no connection with the things she is selling. Are they coming out of her kitchen? No. That was a complete fabrication. It may be true, I will say this much, it may possibly be true that that original batch of 50 jars of jam came out of her kitchen. That I would consider possible. But beyond that, no, no. Everything else is just a show. It's Nutmeg's version of life. She's a Hollywood baby. And as far as she's concerned, if she puts on the show, if she pretends it's real, then it is. Well, it's not real. It's not. This is just, it's a sham. And I think at some point, we are going to have to pull the rug out from under this one and say, no, no. It's just not reality. So that is what I have for you this evening. We are going to take a look at a slideshow on the way out. Thank you all for being with us this evening. I hope to see you next time. And in the meantime, have a terrific day.